7 reasons why the journey of the chosen begins at 40. It's God's timing, not yours. Life is a journey filled with moments of transformation and self-discovery. As we navigate through its twists and turns, there comes a time when many of us find ourselves standing at the threshold of profound change. This is not just any change, but a divine turning point, an opportunity to embrace a new chapter with open hearts and renewed spirits. It's a moment that calls us to pause, reflect, and listen to the whispers of our soul. This turning point is not marked by fireworks or grand gestures. Instead, it is often a gentle nudge, a quiet stirring within, urging us to step forward into a life more aligned with our true purpose. In reaching this pivotal moment, we are invited to shed old skins, to release past burdens, and to embrace the wisdom that comes with experience. It's a time of spiritual awakening, where we begin to see the threads of our past weaving together to form a beautiful tapestry of growth and potential. This is the moment where age becomes more than just a number. It becomes a testament to the journey we've traveled, the lessons we've learned, and the wisdom we've gained. As we stand on this sacred ground, we realize that every challenge, every joy, and every sorrow has been preparing us for this very moment. It's a time to embrace our strength and acknowledge our vulnerabilities with grace. Here, at this divine turning point, we are called to trust in something greater than ourselves, to surrender to the unfolding of a plan that is intricately designed for our highest good. This journey is not one we take alone. We are supported by the unseen forces of love and faith, guiding us with gentle hands toward our destiny. Now is the time to open our hearts to the possibilities that lie ahead, to step boldly into the light of a new dawn, and to embrace the divine calling that beckons us to rise into the fullness of who we are meant to be. Welcome to this sacred journey of transformation, where we step into our anointed season with courage and hope. Number 1. The wisdom of 40, a biblical perspective on maturity. Turning 40 often feels like a significant milestone, and for good reason. In the Bible, the number 40 is rich with symbolism and meaning, frequently associated with a period of testing, trial, or transformation leading to a new phase of life. It's a number that signifies maturity and the culmination of life experiences that prepare us for what lies ahead. Consider the story of Moses. He spent 40 years in the palace of Egypt, 40 years in the desert of Midian, and then led the Israelites for another 40 years in the wilderness. Each of these periods was marked by learning, growth, and preparation for the next stage of his divine mission. Moses' life illustrates how 40 years can signify a complete cycle of development and readiness for God's work. The Israelites' journey through the desert for 40 years is another powerful example. This period was not just about wandering. It was a time of shaping a people who would be ready to enter the promised land. In Deuteronomy 8:2-3 we read, "Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these 40 years, to humble and test you in order to know what was in your heart, whether or not you would keep his command." This passage reminds us that these 40 years were about learning dependence on God and gaining the spiritual maturity needed for the future. When we reach 40, we often find ourselves reflecting on our own journey. Life experiences, both joyful and painful, have shaped us. Like the Israelites, we may have faced our own wilderness times, but these have been essential in developing wisdom and resilience. Ecclesiastes 3:1 tells us, "There is a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens." Reaching 40 can feel like entering a new season where past lessons equip us for greater purpose and spiritual depth. Jesus himself fasted for 40 days and nights in the wilderness, preparing for his ministry, Matthew 4:1-2. This time was crucial for spiritual fortification and focus, demonstrating the profound transformation that can occur in a period marked by the number 40. As we embrace this milestone, we can see it not just as a marker of age, but as a symbol of maturity and readiness to step into a new chapter that God has prepared for us. It's a time to embrace the wisdom gained from our past and to look forward with faith, trusting that every experience has been part of God's divine plan to prepare us for what He calls us to next. In this light, reaching 40 is not something to fear or dread. It is a celebration of the maturity we have gained and the deeper understanding of our spiritual journey. With this perspective, we can approach the next phase of life with confidence and hope, knowing that God has been at work in us all along, shaping us for His purposes. Number 2, the desert bloom, finding purpose in the wilderness. Life often feels like a journey through the wilderness. It's those times when we find ourselves lost, searching for meaning and yearning for direction. But it's precisely in these barren landscapes that God often does His most transformative work. Consider the story of the Israelites wandering the desert for 40 years. This wasn't merely a punishment, but a period of profound growth and reliance on God. In Deuteronomy 8:2-3, it is written, "Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these 40 years, to humble and test you in order to know what was in your heart, whether or not you would keep His command. He humbled you, causing you to hunger and then feeding you with manna, which neither you nor your ancestors had known, to teach you that man does not live on bread alone but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord." What a powerful reminder that even in desolation, God provides. The wilderness can feel like an endless expanse of nothingness, but it's also a canvas for God's miracles. It is here that faith is tested and refined, where reliance on God becomes not just a necessity, but a lifeline. In your own life, the wilderness might look like a period of uncertainty, perhaps a career setback, a personal loss, or a season of waiting. It's tempting to rush through these times, eager to reach the promised land of clarity and purpose. But if we pause and embrace the wilderness, we begin to see that it's not a place to avoid, but a sacred space to encounter God. Just as the desert blooms after the rain, our lives can flourish when we trust in God's provision and timing. Isaiah 35:1-2 speaks of this transformation. "The wilderness and the dry land shall be glad. The desert shall rejoice and blossom like the crocus. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice with joy and singing." It's in these quiet, solitary moments that we learn to listen, to notice the small, still voice of God guiding us. The wilderness strips away distractions and the noise of the world, leaving us raw and open to divine revelation. Remember, the desert is not forever. It is a season, a chapter, not the whole story. And during this time, God is preparing you for something greater. The lessons learned in the wilderness equip you for the journey ahead, strengthening your faith and deepening your trust in God's plan. So embrace the wilderness. Allow yourself to sit with the discomfort, trusting that God is doing a new thing even when you cannot yet see it. Hold on to the promise of Romans 8:28. "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." In the stillness of the desert, may you find your purpose and emerge with a heart transformed, ready to bloom in the fullness of God's love and grace. Number 3, new beginnings. The age of spiritual renewal. Reaching the age of 40 often marks a profound period of reflection and transformation in many spiritual journeys. It is a time when the experiences and lessons of the past converge into a renewed sense of purpose and direction. In the Bible, the number 40 is rich with symbolism, frequently representing periods of testing, trial, and preparation. Consider the Israelites who wandered the desert for 40 years before entering the Promised Land, a time of spiritual cleansing and renewal. Similarly, Jesus fasted for 40 days in the wilderness, emerging strengthened and ready to begin His ministry. Matthew 4:1. At 40, you stand on the cusp of a new beginning, where the wisdom gained over years past becomes the foundation for a deeper, more meaningful relationship with God. This age invites you to shed old habits and embrace the transformative power of spiritual renewal. It's a time to let go of past burdens and step into a new chapter with a heart open to the divine possibilities that await. The Apostle Paul speaks to the essence of renewal in his letter to the Romans, urging believers to be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. This transformation is not merely a change in behavior, but a profound shift in how we perceive ourselves and our purpose in the world. It is about aligning our will with God's will, allowing His Spirit to guide and renew us from within. As you enter this season, consider the areas of your life that may need renewal. Perhaps it's your approach to prayer, your commitment to serving others, or your ability to trust in God's plan. Embrace this time as an opportunity to deepen your faith, knowing that God is working in you. You bring about His good purpose, Philippians 2:13. Remember, new beginnings are not always marked by dramatic changes. Sometimes they are found in the quiet whispers of the heart, urging you to take small, courageous steps toward a life more fully aligned with God's calling. Embrace this age of spiritual renewal with anticipation and gratitude, for it is a gift to journey closer to the heart of God. As you step into this new phase, keep in mind the promise found in Isaiah 43:19. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. Trust in the new things God is doing in your life, and be open to the fresh paths He is creating for you. With faith as your compass, this season of renewal can lead you to a deeper understanding of your divine and the abundant life God has prepared for you. Number 4, the power of faith. Trusting God's timing. Faith is a powerful force that shapes our journey and influences how we perceive and respond to life's challenges. Trusting in God's timing can be one of the most difficult aspects of faith, especially when our human nature craves control and certainty. Yet, it is through this trust that we find peace and fulfillment, knowing that there is a divine plan at work. The Bible offers us numerous examples of the importance of waiting on God's perfect timing. Consider the story of Abraham and Sarah. God promised Abraham that he would be the father of many nations, yet years passed without the birth of a child. Despite their impatience and occasional doubt, God's promise was fulfilled in His own time with the birth of Isaac. As it says in Genesis 21:1-2, Now the Lord was gracious to Sarah as He had said, and the Lord did for Sarah what He had promised. Sarah became pregnant and bore a son to Abraham in his old age, at the very time God had promised him. This story reminds us that God's timing is not our timing, and His ways are higher than our ways. It's a call to surrender our timelines and trust in His wisdom. When we align our expectations with His divine schedule, we open ourselves to the blessings He has in store for us. Isaiah 40:31 beautifully captures this sentiment. But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. This verse reassures us that waiting on God is not passive. It is an active engagement of faith, where we find strength and renewal. Trusting in God's timing also involves recognizing that delays are not denials. Sometimes what seems like a setback is actually a setup for something greater. Joseph's life is a testament to this truth. Sold into slavery by his brothers, thrown into prison under false accusations, Joseph might have felt abandoned. Yet, in due time he rose to become second in command in Egypt, saving his family and many others during a famine. As Joseph said to his brothers in Genesis 50:20, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Our faith deepens when we acknowledge that God sees the bigger picture. He knows what lies ahead, and His timing is always in our best interest. It encourages us to live in the present, embracing each moment with gratitude and anticipation, knowing that our future is secure in His hands. Romans 8:28 reminds us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." In the moments when waiting feels unbearable, remember that God is with you. He is working behind the scenes, orchestrating events for your good and His glory. Let your heart be still and open to His whispers of assurance. Pray for patience and understanding, and lean not on your own understanding but on His promises. Proverbs 3:5-6 urges us to trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. So, as you navigate the seasons of your life, hold fast to the power of faith. Embrace the waiting periods as opportunities for growth and reflection. Trust that God's timing is perfect and that He is faithful to fulfill His promises. Let your faith be the anchor that steadies you amidst the uncertainties, guiding you toward the divine purpose He has set before you. Number 5, the call to leadership, embracing your divine mission. In our journey through life, there comes a moment when we feel a nudge, a whisper that beckons us to step into a role of leadership that we may have never envisioned for ourselves. This is the call to embrace your divine mission. It's a calling that requires courage, faith, and a deep sense of purpose, as it often means stepping out of our comfort zones and into the unknown. The Bible is replete with stories of individuals who were called to leadership in unexpected ways. Consider Moses, who was tending sheep in the desert when God appeared to him in the form of a burning bush. Despite his initial hesitations and feelings of inadequacy, Moses was chosen to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. God assured him, "I will be with you." Exodus 3:12. This promise is as true for us today as it was for Moses. When God calls us to lead, He also equips and accompanies us. Leadership, in the biblical sense, is not about power or prestige, but about servitude and obedience to God's will. Jesus exemplified this when He washed the feet of His disciples, teaching us that true leadership is found in humility and service to others. John 13. As you embrace your divine mission, remember that leadership is about serving those you are called to guide, leading with love and compassion. The Apostle Paul is another powerful example of someone who embraced his divine mission. Once a persecutor of Christians, Paul experienced a profound transformation and became one of the most influential leaders in spreading the gospel. His life reminds us that our past does not disqualify us from God's call. Rather, it can be a powerful testament to His grace and redemption. Paul wrote to Timothy, encouraging him to not let others look down on him because of his youth, but to set an example for the believers in speech, conduct, love, faith. This is a reminder that leadership is not bound by age, experience, or status, but by a heart willing to follow God's directive. Embracing your divine mission means trusting that God has uniquely equipped you for this role. Jeremiah 1:5 tells us, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Each of us has a purpose and a calling that has been ordained by God. As you step into your role of leadership, lean on His wisdom and strength. This journey might not always be easy. There will be challenges and moments of doubt, but remember that God is with you every step of the way. As you seek His guidance and wisdom, you will find the strength to overcome obstacles and the clarity to lead with integrity and vision. Proverbs 3:5-6 encourages us to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. So, as you embrace your divine mission, take heart in knowing that you are not alone. God has called you, prepared you, and walks with you as you lead. Step forward with faith, knowing that your leadership can inspire, uplift, and transform those around you. Number 6, from trials to triumph, growing through adversity. Life is a journey filled with peaks and valleys. It is in the valleys, the moments of trial and adversity, where we often find ourselves questioning, seeking and yearning for understanding. Yet these are also the times when our faith is most tested and ultimately strengthened. As we navigate these challenges, we are reminded of the profound truth that God never leaves us, even when the road is rough and steep. Consider the story of Joseph, a beloved son who was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and unjustly imprisoned. Despite these trials, Joseph's faith in God never wavered. His journey from the pit to the palace was marked by unwavering trust and resilience. Genesis 50:20 beautifully encapsulates this transformation. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. Adversity, while painful, often serves as a catalyst for spiritual and personal growth. It is in these moments that we are reshaped and refined, much like gold in the fire. James 1:2 encourages us to consider it pure joy. My brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. This perspective shifts our focus from the immediate pain to the potential for growth and transformation. Each trial is an opportunity to draw closer to God, to lean on Him, and to discover strength we never knew we had. The Apostle Paul, who faced numerous hardships, famously wrote in Romans 8:28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." In the midst of adversity, we are called to trust that God is at work, weaving the tapestry of our lives in ways that we cannot always see. It is here that we learn to surrender our burdens and embrace the peace that comes from knowing that we are not alone. Isaiah 41:10 reassures us, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Ultimately, the journey from trials to triumph is one of faith, resilience, and hope. It is about finding purpose in the pain and emerging stronger, wiser, and more connected to the divine. As we walk through our own deserts of adversity, may we hold fast to the promise that God is with us, guiding us towards a future filled with hope and possibility. Number 7. The gift of perspective. Seeing life through God's lens. As we journey through life, perspective shapes our experiences and influences our understanding. Seeing life through God's lens allows us to transcend our limited view and embrace a broader, more profound vision. It is an invitation to align our hearts with divine wisdom and to trust in the unfolding of God's plan, even when it defies our immediate understanding. The Bible reminds us that God's ways are higher than our ways. In Isaiah 55:8-9 it is written, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." This passage invites us to trust in a perspective that surpasses our human comprehension, a viewpoint that sees beyond the immediate and embraces the eternal. When we adopt God's perspective, we begin to see challenges as opportunities for growth and blessings in disguise. Romans 8:28 reassures us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." This verse reminds us that even in the midst of trials, God's hand is at work, weaving together a narrative that ultimately leads to our good and His glory. Moreover, seeing through God's lens allows us to find beauty and purpose in the ordinary moments of life. It encourages us to appreciate the small blessings that often go unnoticed and to recognize the sacred in the mundane. Psalm 19:1 declares, "The heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of His hands." By opening our eyes to the wonders around us, we gain a deeper appreciation for the Creator's handiwork and the intricate tapestry of life He has woven. This divine perspective also fosters compassion and empathy, urging us to view others with love and understanding. In Matthew 7:3-5, Jesus teaches about the importance of removing the plank from our own eye before addressing the speck in another's. This lesson encourages us to approach others with humility and grace, recognizing that we all have our own struggles and imperfections. Ultimately, seeing life through God's lens is an act of faith. It requires us to surrender our limited vision and trust in the divine artistry that is at play. Proverbs 3:5-6 advises, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." This trust becomes a guiding light, leading us through the complexities of life with hope and assurance. As we embrace this gift of perspective, may we find peace in the knowledge that we are part of a greater story, one that is crafted with love, purpose, and divine wisdom. Let us walk forward with open hearts, ready to see the world through God's eyes and to live out the calling He has placed upon our lives. Conclusion: stepping into your anointed season. As we draw to the end of this exploration, we find ourselves at the threshold of a profound awakening, a journey rich with wisdom, purpose, and divine calling. We've traversed the landscape of spiritual maturity, learning from the biblical significance of 40 as a number of completion and renewal. This time of life, much like the Israelites' journey through the wilderness, is not merely an end, but a powerful beginning. In the desert where all seems barren, we have discovered the seeds of purpose lying dormant, waiting to bloom into something beautiful and life-giving. We have embraced the notion that new beginnings are not bound by age, but are marked by a readiness to renew our spirits and align our lives with God's will. Our faith, steadfast and enduring, has taught us to trust in God's perfect timing, reminding us of the wisdom of Ecclesiastes 3:11. He has made everything beautiful in its time. With this trust, we are called to step into roles of leadership, embracing our divine mission with courage and conviction. Through trials and adversity, we have been refined, transformed from clay into vessels of strength and purpose. Echoing the promise of Romans 8:28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." We have gained a gift of perspective, learning to see our lives through the lens of God's eternal vision, much like the Apostle Paul, who reminded us in 2 Corinthians 4:18, "So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen, since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." As we step into this anointed season, may we do so with hearts open to the divine possibilities that await. Let us walk boldly, assured that we are equipped and empowered by the Spirit to fulfill the unique calling God has placed upon our lives. In this new chapter, may we find joy, peace, and fulfillment in the knowledge that we are living out our purpose, guided by His loving hand. Embrace this season with gratitude and hope, stepping confidently into the destiny that has been divinely orchestrated for you. May your journey be a testament to the transformative power of faith, and may you continually find strength and inspiration in the eternal promises of God.